It's all about the banana. Yep, bananas rock today. First thing you're going to need is ripe bananas. The riper they are, the better it's going to be. If you have a few, 2 or 3, no one's going to eat them. Don't throw them out. Make banana bread. They can be quite dark, a lot darker than this. The bread that I'm making today is moist and rich and has a lot of flavor. So the first thing you're going to need is a cup of butter, 3 cups of regular sugar, and I'm just going to whip that up really smooth, really creamy, and then I'll come back. So we're going to need 4 eggs, and they're going to have to be separated. So I'm going to separate the yolks from the whites. You can do this through your fingers. I just do this with the eggshell. Seems easier to me. Always crack your eggs on a flat surface. If you do it on the side of a bowl or the side of the counter, you're always going to get eggshells in there. These are large eggs, and with this recipe I would use large eggs. And there we go. Right on. So my butter and my sugar are really smooth, really creamy. I let it go for quite a bit because I really want that mixed well. And I'm going to add my egg yolks. And then I'm just going to work that in and let it go at a low, because now I just want to incorporate this. I don't necessarily want to beat it. So when that is all worked in, we'll come back. It takes a cup of sour milk. You're not going to find sour milk. How you make sour milk is you get your 1 cup of milk and you put 1 tablespoon of either white vinegar, white pure vinegar, or 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and that will equal your sour milk. I always put the vinegar in mine. I've always done that. So I'm going to put my 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and that will make my milk sour. And that's 1 cup of milk, 2%. 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda in my milk. 1.5. And I'm going to stir that around. Give it a real good stir. And I'm going to just pour this into my batter. And there you go. So I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to put it on a stir, not a whip, not on high, stirring it, because that's all I want to do is stir this for just a minute or 2, and then we'll be right back. Okay, that looks pretty. I want to show you, because this is what it's going to look like because of that sour milk. And it almost looks like it's a bit separated, a little clunky, but that's okay. That's what you want it to look like. I always wondered that in the beginning when I was younger too. Is it supposed to look like that? Yeah, it's supposed to look like that. And now, I lifted my bowl, is just making a mess. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the rest of our stuff in there. Let me wash my hands. So it's going to be 2 cups of mashed bananas. 3 bananas made 2 cups of mashed bananas. So I'm going to put that in. And you can do this with a hand mixer and then just blend the rest in by hand. I used to do that when I was younger. It was fine. And let's see, one teaspoon of baking powder. I always put a little bit more. Don't know why. I have no idea. 1 teaspoon of salt. just a teaspoon. There's not a lot of salt in there actually when you come to think about it. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You can use dark light, it doesn't matter. I use my homemade, so 2 teaspoons. You can actually add a little more too if you want to. I mean, that's what it's all about. You know, your own taste and your own everything. I mean, that's what's fun about cooking, baking, is that you can cook and bake to your liking. And for this, I'm going to use 4 cups of flour. I use my half and half mixture, bread flour and all-purpose. You can use either or. I don't think it's going to matter at all. So I'm just going to put that 4 cups in. And I'm not going to put my blender on right now, as we speak, because I know this flour is just going to go flying everywhere. So I'm going to just stir it by hand a little bit, just a little, so that flour, you know, stays in the bowl and not in my face. So I'm going to put this on, clean up my mess. Let this go for, you know, a couple of minutes, a minute on stir, and then we'll be back. So smooth and creamy. But we're not done yet, because we did separate our eggs before, and I'm going to show you what to do with those egg whites now. Sorry, just always washing my hands. Always washing my hands. So I've got my egg whites in a pretty big bowl. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip these until they're almost white. I don't want peaks. I don't want to, you know, make them completely stiff. And see how it's a little bit foamy? You can see how it's just like, it looks like a bubble bath. That's what it looks like. It looks like a bubble bath. And this is the point I want it to be. And I'm not going to whip this together. I'm not going to mix it together with a mixer. I'm going to pour it right on top. That's 4 egg whites. We already used the egg yolks. And all I'm going to do with this is fold the eggs in. Cut in the center, lift, cut in the center, and lift. I'm not going to mix it with a whisk. I'm not going to do a hand beater. I'm going to cut right through the center and fold it over. Cut through the center and fold it over. That's all I'm going to do with this. You don't want to overmix this at all. And you're probably looking at it going, well, how is that going to work out? Trust me, it works out. So I'm going to continue to do this. Cut right down the center and fold it over until it's well incorporated. But I'm going to be very gentle with it. And that's how you fold in egg whites. Cut in the center and fold. So when this is done, I'll be back. Okay, here comes the fun part. You see my kitchen. Looks like it blew up in here. I've got so many things on the go. These are the loaf pans I use. Tin ones. You can get them at the dollar store. 3 for $1, 4 for $1. The reason why I use these is because I'm going to freeze my bread. I know we're not going to have, you know, the amount of bread that I'm going to make out of this is probably 9, 10 loaves. When I'm looking at it, actually, I thought it was going to be less than that, but it's actually going to be quite a lot. So I'm going to freeze it, take one out a week. They come out perfectly when you freeze it. They come out just as moist as the day you made it, so it's really nice to have in your freezer. So I just spray it with cooking spray. You can do this with butter. You can even put flour in it if you want to, or you can just put it in a regular loaf pan or a cake pan, a square cake pan, and put a topping on it if you want to, because it is that good. You can get away with it. So this batch, oh, I gotta do it this way, or I'm all discombobulated. So I'm gonna put, it will rise. Once you have this banana bread, oh, you will not switch from this banana bread. It's been 27 years approximately, and I have not found another banana bread that I will even remotely think about doing again. I will stick to this. It is that good. Who knows where this came from? It was an old recipe. It was like finding gold at that garage sale when I was a young kid and a new mom. And this recipe book, it was like, you know, finding gold. And I was fascinated by this book, and it was so tethered, but I didn't care. I didn't care. It was just the most fantastic thing I had ever had my hands on. And I wish I knew what that book was, but I guess over the years things get lost and things get put away, and you know, you move and all that kind of stuff. And that's my stove at 350 degrees. These are going to be going in for an hour. Depending on how, depending on what size loaf pan you use, and you know how thick you're making them, but for these, they'll take about 45 minutes to an hour, for sure. They always do. And let's see if I can get one more of these in there, and then I'm gonna throw these in the oven. You can, you know, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I do this a lot when I'm baking, because my stove is very hot. I put these tins on a baking sheet to keep the bottoms from not burning. I usually do put a baking sheet underneath of these kinds of tins, and the bottoms never burn. They come out nice and moist and never dark, and it's perfect. But that's just my stove. And I've been known to blow up the stove here and there because of my overuse. Okay, so that's just a half a loaf. But I'm going to make some more of this, so I'm going to fill that up with the rest that I make. So these three are going to go in the oven. And then, when they're done, I'll come back. We're back, it's all done. I got 8 loaves out of that, and 3 cake pans out of that. Now, the bread is so moist that even with butter on it, it tastes fantastic. But if you want to dress it up and make it into a sweet treat after dinner, all you have to do is put cream cheese frosting on it. And I have a video of that. You just go and browse the videos and it'll be there. Or if I can figure out how to put a link to it, I will. But the first thing that I'm going to do is cut into a piece of the cake with the cream cheese. This is such an awesome little dessert. And the recipe will flip either way. Oh, look at that. That is fantastic. Look at that. I didn't grab some off the bottom, so it's a little bit funky, but boy, does it look good. It is so good with cream cheese. And I need a bite. Mmm. Oh, so good. Oh, and that will feed a lot of people. And the bread is so moist. If you heat it up in the microwave, it just takes 10 seconds and you've got this beautiful warm banana bread. So that's how quick and easy it is to use up your bananas. Don't throw them away because they can feed a lot of people. Even if you have 3 bananas, that will get you probably 2.5 to 3 loaves of bread. That's a lot of food to save 3 bananas. So give it a try. Till next time, hey do.